from just about every grade here?
We do.
Wow. Nice. Well, that's exciting. You're like, all the older kids are like, I have not sit crisscross applesauce in like 8 years. But that's rocking. Awesome. So, first off, it's good to meet you all. I'm Father Jacob. I'm the pastor over St. Monica's, just the next parish over in Mishawaka Catholic. And I grew up in this area. So I grew up in Holy Cross Parish. I went to Holy Cross School, Crusader. And then after that, I went out to Penn High School. And after that, I went to Ball State. Chirp, chirp. Hey, you know, we lost, but I'm kind of happy we lost. Because, of course, am I a Notre Dame fan? Definitely. But it was a cool game, wasn't it? Definitely a cool game. So, you were on the Jumbotron, which is sweet. So what I'm going to talk to you guys about today is a little bit about your t-shirts, actually. Which, it's always good to get a new t-shirt, isn't it? I'm like, sweet deal, getting a t-shirt out of this. Fire up. And so, when I want you to think about something. How many of you have ever been camping? Okay, awesome. So most of you have been camping. All right, you can put your hands down. So, with camping, one of the central elements of camping is a campfire, correct? Mm-hmm. Yes, that's one of the central elements of camping. To be perfectly honest, I hate camping. Okay? I am not a camping person. I am a city boy. I don't know how to light fires. I am not about mosquitoes or bugs. I'm not about sleeping outside. I said this is just a bunch of nonsense. So I am not a big fan, but my parents put me in Cub Scouts. Lord have mercy. So I go to this Cub Scout thing, and I go, okay, I gotta dress up in a dumb-looking uniform. I can go out here and do things I don't even like to do. Fine, whatever. And so I get out there, and it's our first camping trip. And they're like, okay, we're gonna learn how to light a fire. I go, well, yeah, you light a fire. You get the little big lighter out, press the button, and you light it. No, you gotta learn how to do it the real way, you know, with sticks and flint and all this. I'm like, are you kidding me? Really? That's just a lot of work. I don't want to deal with all that work. But if you ever know how to light a fire, it takes a lot of work. How do you light a fire? What do you think are the things you need to do to light a fire? All right, yes?
Well, you're going to need flint and rocks.
You need flint and rocks. All right, what else?
Well, in our world now, we need like gasoline.
We need gasoline? That's not the smart way to light a fire. That's the great way to get blown up. Yeah, what else? Uh-huh. Wood? Okay, yeah, you need wood. What else do you need?
You need like a trench so the fire doesn't like escape.
Nice. You need some type of a barrier so that the fire doesn't, spread and, don't burn the whole place down, right? Because that gets awkward. Yeah?
I think you need, a match.
A match. Matches would definitely help. What do you think, bud? Nope. Maybe? Yeah? Yeah, you. Paper, excellent. You need kindling. Good. Put your hands down. In other words, you need a whole lot of stuff. You can't just walk in and light a fire. You guys have to have a whole lot of different things in order to build that fire up if you want to build a good fire that's going to last, correct? And so you got to do a lot of work. You got to make sure you have rocks around the fire, make sure you have some kindling here and there, the stuff that's going to light on fire. You're going to have some logs. It's a lot of hard work. However, after you get all that hard work done, what is the entire point of a campfire? S'mores. S'mores are the entire point of a campfire. It is completely worthless if you don't have s'mores, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So, okay, fine, and hot dogs. But regardless, the whole point of a fire is to eat good things. That's the joy that comes from a fire. It takes a lot of work, but you get a lot of good stuff out of it. And that is the key. So when we are all called to light a fire in our lives. And I'm not talking about a real fire, okay? No one's lighting nothing on fire today, okay? Except for our hearts are supposed to be lit on fire, but when are our hearts first lit on fire? When are we given that flame of faith? Does anyone know? When we were given it? Yes.
When we learn about God.
When we learn about God? Well, guess what? You probably get it even before then.
Ooh.
He said it, but who wants to raise their hand and say it? Yeah?
When you go to church.
When you go to church? This happens at a church?
When you're baptized.
When you're baptized. Excellent. So what are one of the symbols of baptism? Is one of the symbols a candle?
Yeah.
When you get baptized, do you get a candle? The godparents get a candle? Obviously, they don't give it to the baby because that gets awkward, right? We don't have a baby. But you get the candle, and you hold the candle, and the godparents, and what the priest says is, parents and godparents, receive the light of Christ. This light is entrusted to you to be kept burning brightly. This child of yours is to be enlightened by Christ. May they always walk as a child of the light, so that when the Lord comes, may they go out to meet him with all of the saints in the heavenly kingdom. And so each and every single one of you who are baptized have the fire of faith lit in your hearts. Here's the problem. If you just light the fire, and walk away and don't do anything to it, what's going to happen?
It's gonna go out.
It's gonna die. The fire is gonna just burn out, and then it's done. Once the fire's done, is it a lot more difficult to get restarted?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to restart a fire after it's already been burned out. However, once that fire is going, what do you gotta do to keep it going?
You gotta
Get more sticks.
You gotta get more sticks.
more
You go out and get more logs, you get more sticks, and you put more on it, and then what happens? The fire grows. And that's the same with the flame of faith in each and every one of our lives. That flame is lit at your baptism. The question is, are you working on it? Are you working on keeping that flame built up? Or are you just kind of letting it die? What do you got to do to build up that flame? Yes?
Go to church.
You got to go to church. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Go to church, people. Okay? Going to church is the first and foremost way that we receive that. It's like, who said gasoline earlier, right? Gasoline, that's a good way to blow yourself up. So never put gasoline on a fire. No. So, but beyond that, when you go to Mass, what do we receive at Mass? Yes?
Communion is one of the sacraments.
Communion, which is one of the sacraments. When you receive Holy Communion, what happens? That flame of faith is then really sparked on fire. Now, I want you to think about it. So you go to church, what else do you do? What else do you do to grow this faith? Yes? Adoration, excellent. What else?
Religion.
Religion class, most certainly. Yes? That's good. Reconciliation, confession, excellent. Living out the virtues, practicing the faith, yes?
Like when you get married, it's
Yeah, that's a sacrament.
yeah, it's a sacrament.
I think it's funny how all these kids are answering, but look at all these big kids back over here. Yes?
Prayer.
Prayer, excellent. Prayer, spending time with the Lord. What else? I'm going to start calling you. You don't raise your hand. Let's go with you, my friend.
Singing psalms.
Singing psalms. Singing. A middle school boy said singing. It's a miracle. I have this thing at my church where I give the class that sings the best cookies. It's kind of a big deal. You know what how I measure the class that sings the best?
Loudest.
All the boys' mouths have to be moving.
Oh.
They don't have to be the loudest voices, but their mouths have to be moving. Do you hear that, boys? Do you hear that, boys? Eyes. So, that's something that's so important. Singing, it's a great way to build that fire. Great way. Okay, these last two ways. What do you think? Confirmation, excellent. Oh, yeah, that was you're going to do? Excellent. All right, one more, and then we'll be good. Oh.
Love God.
Loving God, certainly. So you guys know the ways to build the fire, but I don't think sometimes we realize why. Like, building a fire and having a giant bonfire, yeah, that's cool. And that sounds like a great time. But I don't think we realize how awesome it can be and what type of an effect it's supposed to have in our lives when we light that fire. Okay? Because if you have a bonfire and it's just this little bonfire, like this big, is that a cool bonfire?
No.
Is that a lame bonfire?
Yes.
Yes. Lame bonfire. There is this bonfire that I went to one time at Texas A&M. Okay? Texas A&M, big university down in Texas. They build a 2.5-story tall bonfire. It's taller than the church. This has like full tree trunks. It is insane. They build this giant fire, and you're there, and I'm watching this thing. I'm going, this is crazy. These people are crazy. I don't know how they lit it, but you know what? They have this giant flame, and they put it in there, and this whole thing goes up in flames, and when it goes up in flames, everyone all of a sudden goes, whoa! Whoa! And can you get close to that type of a fire?
No.
You get close to that type of fire and you feel it. You're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going on over there, but man, I gotta take a step back. Holy cow, it's bright, it's hot. People recognize it. People recognize it. And that's the type of bonfire that we're supposed to have in our lives of faith. Such that people recognize it. When you see that big of a bonfire, do people start paying attention? Yeah, do people start looking at it? I wonder what's going on over there. Man, there's a huge thing going on over there. I want to go over there. I want to go see what's happening. And all of a sudden, when they light this bonfire, there may be a couple hundred people, but then all of a sudden, everyone comes from all over campus, and everyone is gathered around this bonfire. Why? It's cold, it's warm, it's awesome, it's amazing. Everyone, and it draws people into a community. So the question that I have for you is, what type of faith do you want to have? Because all of us have that gift of faith that was given to us at baptism. But some of us have that lame faith. That faith that we haven't done all those things to build up the fire. That we just kind of let it go. That we're kind of like, yeah, whatever, take it or leave it. You know, okay, I go to church, maybe. I don't really pay attention. I kind of roll my eyes. I do whatever. My mom makes me sing. And if I don't, I get in trouble. Fine, blah. Lame faith. Lame. Nobody's paying attention to that fire. That fire, if it's not even out, it's just like nobody even cares about it. It's just kind of, no big deal. But then there's those people that have the giant flame of faith. And those are the type of people like John Paul II. Okay? John Paul II, JP2. You guys look down at your shirts. Does it say be not afraid on there?
Yeah.
Well, JP2 said that to a whole bunch of young people. He said, do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to go out there and share your faith. Do not be afraid to build up the bonfire. And JP2 was one of those types of guys where you met him and you're like, whoa, that guy's holy. He is holy, and he is fun, and he is caring, and he is kind. And everyone wanted to be a part of what he was a part of. But people who did not believe, people who were not about good things, communism, all those types of people, all those who wanted to do evil in this world, they couldn't stand to be in his presence. That fire, when you're not used to that flame, all of a sudden you can be like, whoa, I don't know if I want that. You got to get used to it, so then you can get closer to it. A lot of times, when we go to start doing these things that we know build up the fire, those things aren't immediately attractive to us. Praying, singing, spending time with God. There's so many other things that we could be doing. Oh, I really like my video games, or I really like doing whatever, or I really like just daydreaming. There's a lot of things that we like to do, and so sometimes the things of God that build up that fire aren't immediately appealing. We're kind of like those people with the bonfire going, oh my gosh, that's just hot. I don't even know if I want to be close to it. It's because we're not used to it. But once you get used to the goodness, once you get used to that flame and you get used to that fire, what happens when you walk away from it? You get cold. And you recognize that it's not there anymore. You're like, oh gosh, the world is not as good. Even though at first I thought it was too much, once you get away from it, then all you want to do is go back. And so for us, we need to be building up our lives of faith so that we are a big bonfire, not just for ourselves, but for other people, because it's our job to bring other people to Jesus as well. What type of a bonfire do you want to be in your life? Do you want to be the lame bonfire, or do you want to be the giant bonfire? Giant. All the little kids know. All you older kids. It's easy when you have little kids. Oh, these little kids, these are adorable kids, right? Y'all got cute kids in this school. All right, so all of you kids, you guys got energy, you're exciting, you're good. When you guys get to be these bigger kids' age, we want you to be large bonfires of faith that you guys become inspiration for all these other little ones, not lame fires. Okay? Do not be lame. What does it look like to be a lame fire of faith? A lame fire of faith, no, I know you know, but I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you what it looks like to be a lame fire of faith. To not be interested in God and what God can give you. To pay attention more to the things of the world than of God. To then not be an instrument of kindness when you're walking through these halls. Older kids most especially, I want you to listen to this. When you are walking through these halls, who are you being to the other people around you? Are you smiling? Are you recognizing other people's goodness? Like there's all these little kids looking around and they're looking up at you going, oh my gosh, look, it's a big kid. They're so tall. Hi guys, how you doing? And you can go, ugh. Or you can go, what's up my person, how you doing? Boom! Look at you. Now make sure you love Jesus. And when you're in church, you can either go and you can kneel down in church and you can be like, all right. And the kid can be squirrely next to you. Or you can be like, hey, guess what? Watch me. I'm going to be paying attention. Why? Because that's God up there. You can be leading people to God or you can be leading people away from God. You have two choices and that's it.
Oh.
You're either leading people toward them or you are leading people away from them. Those are your only two choices. There's nothing in the middle, people. There is nothing in the middle. Because if you think you're in the middle, you're on the wrong end. If you think that I'm not either leading people towards or away from them, nope, wrong. If you think that you're just kind of in the middle, that means you're on the wrong side because that's leading people away. Because that lackluster is just kind of blah. There's a lame fire, there's the giant fire, but there's kind of the even worse, just kind of the. So this is what we all have to do in our lives. to build a good fire? Number one, you got to bring to the fire stuff to burn. You got to give God something to work with, people. You got to give the Lord something to work with. What is that kindling? It's time, quiet time in prayer. That wood, that's the sacraments. You got to make sure you have plenty of the sacraments. And you got to keep that wood going. You can't just have First Communion once and then you're done. No, you have to have communion every single Sunday. And all of you guys get it multiple times a week, which is great. That's more wood thrown on that fire. Confession again and again and again and again and again and again. Do I make my point?
Yes.
Good. Especially you older kids. You need to be hitting that confession regularly. Why? Not because you did anything that big or that bad. None of you are knocking over banks twice a week, are you? I hope not. You're not knocking over a bank, that means stealing all the money out of a bank. No one's doing that. However, you need to get into the habit right now of going to God for His mercy in the little things so that you can be a great witness when those greater temptations come. So first thing, you got to have that time in prayer. That's the kindling. That's the stuff that easily can spark on fire. Then you got to have the wood, the sacraments. But then you got to have the rocks that are around it, or the trench that are around it. You have to protect the fire. You have to protect your faith. Are there a lot of people in this world that want to destroy your faith?
Yes.
They want to put that fire out? Yes. It's called everyone in Hollywood. Okay? All of those pagan people. All right? There's a whole lot of people that do not want you to believe, because if you believe and if you're a witness, that stings their conscience. If you become a witness to the gospel, if you become a witness to kindness and mercy and love, guess what? You go out into the world, some people are going to try to draw away from you just like we originally draw away from the fire. Why? Because they're like, you are just too much. You love Jesus a little too much for me. That's a little much. I'm going to stay right over here. Why? Because if I'm over here, I don't have to change. If I'm over here, I don't have to do anything. If I'm over here, I can comfortably be whoever I want to be in the moment, and I don't have to worry about becoming a better person. It's easier over here away from the fire. So there will be people that reject you because of the flame of your faith, and that's okay. But guess what? Your job is to slowly get them used to it. To slowly witness to them and get them used to what it is you are being called to be, and they are being called to be. The key to all of this is you can sit here and go, yeah, okay, Father, I get it. I want to be a giant bonfire of faith. Yes, I want that. The question is, are you willing to put forth the effort to do it? Or are you afraid? Most people are afraid to do this. Why? They're either afraid because they're afraid of failing. If I put forth the effort, I might not succeed. Or they're afraid of doing it. Why? Because it's going to make you different. If you are a giant bonfire, how many giant bonfires are there out there? How many two-story bonfires can you go throughout the world? Not many. One in Texas. That's it. Actually, it's Texas. There's probably a lot more. There are a bunch of country folk out there. But regardless, there's not that many out there. And so often we are afraid to be different. We are afraid to be an individual. It's so funny that the culture tells us to be your own person, blah, 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 blah. But most of us are actually afraid to do that. Are you afraid to be what God called you to be? To be radically different than the rest of your peers. To be radically kind. To be radically faithful. To try your very best at this. It's difficult because if you do it, a lot of times you're going to get some backlash. People will try to call you a hypocrite. Well, guess what? We're all hypocrites. Every single one of us preaches the gospel and we fail. That can't keep you from building that flame of faith. So we have to have those rocks around the fire to protect us. What is it that we need to protect the flame of faith? We need to make sure that we don't have those things that put the flame out. Cough, Instagram. Cough, Snapchat. Cough, hashtag whatever it is you're doing right now. All right? Facebook, all these other stupid things. Okay, let me tell you right now. Everyone's like, these things can be great instruments for good, but they can also be great instruments for evil. Are you using those things well, or are you not? Or video games, or whatever it is that you guys are all into. I don't even know what the kids do nowadays. I'm bald, I'm old, I get it. I'm not plugged in. Yes, Fortnite and all that other nonsense. Whatever it is that you are doing, is it bringing you closer to God, or is it tempting you away? very often it's tempting you away. Now, I'm not saying stop all those things, but I'm saying you got to have the rocks in place. You got to have the defenses in place. You got to know that, oh, wow, there's this certain person on social media. They never post good things, and they always post things that bring me away from the faith. That they post things that take me down. All right, I'm going to unfollow that. I don't need that. Ain't nobody got time for that. I need to be the person that I'm putting out there things that help people become better versions of themselves. I need to be that person that's putting things out there that helps them not to be afraid to show their faith. Why? Because I'm willing to do it and be courageous and show my faith. That's what we're called to do as Christians. And so, those are the things I want you thinking about today. You're going to go over and spend some time with Jesus. Some things for you to think about while you're in there with Jesus. What is my kindling? Do I have time for God in prayer? Am I even able to light a fire? Do I got the stuff I need to light the fire? Sacraments. Am I going to the sacraments regularly? Am I looking to them to feed that flame of faith that is alive? Am I learning? Am I learning about the Lord? Am I actually paying attention in religion class? Or am I just, Jesus is the right answer. And then am I protecting my faith? Am I keeping out those bad influences that are trying to squash that flame? What am I doing to protect it? Those are the three things I want you to think about. Am I giving the Lord time? Am I going to the sacraments regularly? And am I protecting my faith? Those are the three things you need to be thinking about. Lastly, don't be afraid to do it. Why do I say that? Because I was where you all were at one point in time as well. I didn't go to this school. I went to Holy Cross. Same type of deal. I went to college, and when I was in college, I was in a fraternity. Do you think a frat house is where they were really trying to get me to build up my faith? No. Was I different for loving the gospel? Most certainly. Whenever someone wanted to talk about Jesus, they all said, hey, go talk to Jacob. He's the one that talks about Jesus. But was I called to do that? Yes. Are all of you called to be that person? Yes. Every single one of you is called to be the person that they say, hey, go talk to that person. Why? Because they know something about the Lord. Are you willing to share your faith? Was it terrifying sometimes? Yes. But I did it. And then I became a great witness to those people. And that's where I found the joy of my life. Because was at Ball State University, was I studying to be a priest? No. I was studying to be a business major. I was going to be a business major. I loved it. I had a great time. But I found that my greater joy was spreading the faith. That was my greater joy, was talking about Jesus. And that's what I'm doing now today. And that's what I'm doing for the rest of my life, which is pretty awesome. And so I encourage you all to A, not be afraid, and B, build up the fire of faith. That's a wrap, people. Questions. And I hear that some of us have questions, especially our older guys. Do you guys have any questions for me? Anything about me, or about faith, or about all those types of things? Man, you are the question master here. What's your question?